powerful army prepares to arrive in Ukraine, Germany pours $105 billion into army to gain more strength to support Ukraine. Update on the Russia and Ukraine war. June 30. Germany builds the biggest army in Europe as Scholz vows to support Kiev as long as necessary. Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that Germany is in the process of building the largest army in Europe. A few days after the start of the all-out war, Scholz announced that Germany had poured €100 billion, $105 billion, into its military so it could stand with Ukraine. Germany's army is now more than 200,000 people, and we will increase it to 500,000 people like it was during World War II. He also promised to meet NATO's goal of spending 2% of GDP on defense, as well as increase its combat readiness force from the current 40,000 men to more than 300,000. In an interview on public television channel ARD after the G7 group of the world's richest nations met in Bavaria, the Chancellor said Germany, along with United States, had certainly contributed the largest to the Union. North Atlantic. The largest conventional army in Europe within the framework of NATO is being built, and this is very important for the defense capabilities of the whole NATO, he said. The G7 summit saw Mr. Scholz discuss the Ukraine crisis, among other important issues, with the leaders of Britain, Canada, France, Italy, Japan, the US and also the European Union from Sunday to Tuesday. The leader of the Social Democrats, who chaired the conference, stressed the need for the G7 economies to stand together and support Ukrainians in defending their country. Olaf Scholz continued, "We need to build a stronger army to be ready to defeat the Russian threat, and we can even go to volunteer support in Ukraine, if necessary. I am very, very confident that we will succeed in sending a very clear signal of solidarity and decisiveness." Action from this summit, emphasized Mr. Olaf Scholz. When he arrived for the second day of talks on Wednesday, the Prime Minister told reporters that the Allies would continue to supply weapons to Kiev in the fight against Moscow. "This is not just Ukraine's war, it's all of us. After Ukraine will come, we bear the threat from Russia. That's why we must act quickly in support of Ukraine's victory," said Olaf Scholz. "If there is a level of urgency, or the threat of Putin increases further, we Germans will send troops to support Ukraine. It's good that countries are gathered here, but many other countries also contribute to Ukraine being able to defend itself, by providing financial means, humanitarian aid, but also by providing weapons," he said. "Gas that Ukraine urgently needs. The message is, we will continue to do so, and do this intensively, for as long as necessary for Ukraine to be able to defend itself." His comments come after a shipment of self-propelled artillery pieces to Ukraine earlier this month in Berlin's first delivery of heavy weapons since the start of the conflict 4 months ago. Olaf Scholz promised to continue sending more modern weapons to Ukraine.
The first strikes were carried out by the American M142 HIMARS MLRS, which arrived in Ukraine. The Ukrainian military published the first videos of the use of the M142 HIMARS multiple rocket launcher. According to preliminary reports, the strikes had been carried out a day earlier, as Ukrainian news agencies had already reported, although no official confirmation of this information has been provided. The video footage shows strikes by at least 7 M30A1 long-range missiles with a range of up to 70 kilometers. It is not specified in which direction the strikes were carried out and what was the target of the Ukrainian military, but the United States is directly involved in the strikes with these weapons, as Washington had previously stated that it would fully control the use of these weapons and issue coordinates for the strikes. Journalists of the Avia Pro news agency managed to find out that the two M140